Welcome to Friday. It's Friday, it's the end of the week. I know the days are kind of running together for everybody. Hello, Sylvia, 1545. Good morning. Good morning, Michael. I see you there. Super excited to show you guys how to get crisp corners on zipper totes or zipper bags. This is a skill that there's lots of different ways that you can make the corners really crisp on a little pouch. So I'm super excited to show you how to do that. So for everyone who's joining, if you just want to leave a little comment about where you are watching from so we can see our scope of reach, that would be lovely. I myself am in Alberta, Canada. I know we've got people joining us from British Columbia, from Ontario. So just leave us a little note in the comments there of where you're from, and then we'll go back and see where everyone joined us from. So to get started, I want to show you this little sample. Oh, but first we need to do this. We need to do this because it's really exciting because, you know, we don't get to see our faces very much right now. So good morning, everybody. I'm super excited that you are here. Oh, Liz, sunny Vancouver, sure, rub it in. It is currently overcast and yucky here in Alberta, but hopefully the sun will come out later. So yes, so we're talking about zippers this week. So we've had welt zippers, we've had zippers with decorative stitches, we've had zipper tabs, and so today is zipper corners. So this is the little pouch that I prepared for one of our event menu classes this year. And if you look, you can see we've got nice crisp corners on this little pouch. So I'm going to show you how to achieve that. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So I'm just going to flip the camera back around and we will get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is layering your fabrics to put a zipper on. You want to be able to have your zipper the right side facing up. So I am sewing on the Continental M7 this morning, and I've got a zipper foot installed here. So this is the zipper foot. It's called the E foot, and it has notches on either side of it for using a zipper. So it snaps on like our other feet. And my fingers are cold and uncooperative this morning. So I'm just gonna thread that. Okay, so I want to show you one other thing before we get started. And I want to show you the setting for the zipper on the M7. So when you use the sewing applications menu, you can see that you have all these different choices here for sewing wovens, for sewing knits, for top stitching, for rolled hem. So I'm just going to go down and I want to do a lapped zipper because I'm just doing a regular zipper. So you can have it start and stop with a back stitch, or you can have it as a baste, or you can sew the left side of the zipper or the right side. So I'm going to choose the right side, and I'll just put you back here so you can see where the needle is going to move to. So the needle moves over here to the left side of the foot, and this is so that you can run your zipper right up along this zipper tape. So this is the fabric that I have to show you right now. And when we are layering fabrics for a zipper, you want to make sure that the top of your zipper, where the zipper tab is, this is your right side. So you want to make sure that the right side of your fabric is on the right side of your zipper. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to line up my right side here. And I'm just going to put a little clip here because then I'm going to take my lining and I'm going to put my lining in the same spot and make sure that it's matched up. So I'll use another clip here. I'll take that first one off and then I'm going to match these edges up down here and do that. So you can use clips, you can use pins, you can use temporary glue, you can use all kinds of things to keep your layers together until you're ready to sew. So I'm ready to sew. So now I'm going to line up my foot. And I'm going to make sure that my zipper tab is just pulled off to the side because I don't want it to bump with the back of the foot here. And my hands are shaky this morning. Must be not enough coffee. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm just having some technical difficulties. There we go. All right, so I'm going to sew. And I'm going to use, I don't know why it just cut. Oh, because I could use the, so has that ever happened to you? You've accidentally cut your thread instead of started sewing? Yep, happens to me all the time. So I'm just sewing right along the edge of my zipper, which is right here. You can't see it because I have my fabric is pressed with fusible fleece. So I'll just reline that up and I'm going to sew all the way down to the end. So to achieve crisp corners, I don't top stitch at this point. I would just press everything and get it nice and flat because we're going to top stitch after. So we'll set this one aside and we're going to flip the camera here so that you can see me again. All right. Hi, everyone. So this one has been done already. It's got my outside and my lining already together. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to clip my right sides of my outside together like this on one side of the zipper. And I'm going to clip the right sides of my lining on the other side of the zipper. So to get those nice crisp corners, I'm actually going to back stitch right here when I get to the zipper tape. I am not going to sew over the zipper tape. So on the lining on the outside, I'm just going to do all the way around. And on the lining side, I'm going to leave an opening to turn. And as Liz talked about yesterday, it's really, really important that when you're joining your lining and your exterior that you open up that zipper because you don't want it to get stuck or be zipped into a corner. So I'm going to add a couple of clips here. And don't forget, everyone, everyone is, we're staying home and finding things to do at home, but please don't forget that a lot of our dealers are still open. They are doing curbside pickup and they would be more than happy to help you out with any issues that you're experiencing with your machines. Or if you decide that it's time to have a new machine, then I'm sure they would love to help you out with that as well. Okay, so I've got everything clipped here and I'm going to move this clip over here to the side, and then my opening is going to be right here on my lining. So I'm going to do the top first. So we'll flip here and I'm going to change the feet. So I'm going to go to a 1/4 inch foot with the guide on there because I'm using thicker fabric. So the guide is going to be really handy to I can't talk. Hang on. It's going to be, to have the guide will be really handy to keep my edges all lined up straight. So I'm just going and I'm setting the 1/4 inch foot and I'm just going to increase my stitch length to a 2.5. And I'm going to turn on that pivot function so that I can keep everything in line as I'm sewing. So I'm going to start over here and I'm going to make sure that my zipper pieces are together, and I'm going to start here and I'm going to do a back stitch up until my zipper tape because I don't want to sew over that zipper tape. I'll start, and then I'll go back. And I'll go all the way around. So have you ever wondered what the lines on the needle plate are for? If you look at the needle plate, there is lines on here, and see there's a 1/4 inch here. So if you stop when your fabric is at the 1/4 inch, then you'll have a perfect 1/4 inch on this side to keep going. So right now in Canada, we are drop shipping sewing machines directly from our warehouse. So that is really handy for those of you who are in the market for a new machine. The other little technique that I do with turning corners is I go to the corner and then I take 1 stitch on the diagonal, and that helps my corners to poke out nice and square as well. Okay, so I'm getting to the front here, and I'm going to back stitch and then cut my thread. So I am in the same way. I'm going to start with the lining. So make sure that zipper tape is up out of the way. And we're just going to keep sewing right along here. And I will leave an opening to turn. So when I get to my bottom corner, I take 1 stitch on the diagonal, and then I continue turning around. Go all the way here. Okay, and then I'm going to back stitch here, and that's going to leave my opening. So I'll cut those threads, and then I'm going to continue up along here and start again with a back stitch. I'm going to get to the corner, do a diagonal stitch, and then sew up the side. And so I'm getting close here, so I'm going to move that zipper tape out of the way. I don't want to sew on it, so I'm just going to make sure that my zipper's out of the way. And we'll go up to the right up here to the top and back stitch. All right. Okay, so everything is sewn. We've got nice 1/4 inch seam allowances. I'm just going to come over here to my iron, which everybody knows what an iron looks like, and so you don't need to see that part. And what I'm doing is I'm actually on my lining, I am pressing that bottom seam open so that when I go to turn my pouch and finish it off, I know exactly where the edges of my opening are for sewing on the inside to finish it up. So that's another little tip that I've learned. Okay, so now you can look at me again as soon as I find my scissors. Okay, so here I am again, and I'm going to just clip off the edges of these corners, especially when you're using a thicker interfacing or batting, because that extra bulk can make it so that your corners are difficult to turn. So you don't be careful not to cut your stitching, and you're just gonna lop off those corners. Okay, so it is time to turn our bag. So I'm going to reach in here and grab the outside and go right all the way through. And once I get to this side, I'm going to finish opening that zipper because that's going to make it easier. There we go. So tell us, what handy zipper tips have you learned this week while we've been doing zipper week? I would love to know the kind of things that you've picked up from our Instagram lives. You know, doing Instagram live is something new for the Janome Canada team, and so we're super excited that lots of you are tuning in to watch us. It's really exciting, and we've got a full menu of tips and tricks and hints, all in the planning stages and ready to go for our next few weeks. We are going to be alternating days. So one week it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the following week will be Tuesday, Thursday. And that's so that we can bring you the absolute best content possible. Look at how nice and crisp that corner is. So because I took that one stitch on the corner, you can see, if I can get this to zoom properly, you don't have to go back and use a pin to pull that corner out. It's already there. All right, and so now I'm going to do this one. All right. Oh, and I forgot these ones. So I'm just going to pull the lining back out and grab my lining corners and make sure that they are nice and crisp, and they're going to fit very well into these corners. So I did use scraps of fusible fleece for this little bag. And so fusible fleece is great if you want to do a little bit of quilting, but you only have like exact sizes of fleece. Because it's fusible, it can fuse right to your fabric, and then you're not having to worry about the different layers and that kind of thing. All right, here is our little baggie. And so if you look right here, you can see that we've got a pretty good lineup. So I'm going to flip the camera because it's going to be easier for me to show you this with the fabric in front of me. So I've got, this is where the zipper is, and I'm just going to reach in here and I'm going to push the zipper teeth out just a little bit because I want to be able to have that corner nice and crisp and straight. And so if your teeth cross over at the end, that's okay, but you want to make sure that there's enough slack here on the corner for your zipper to be positioned nicely. So I'm going to test it and I'm going to go down here and see how it looks. I'd say that's pretty good. Just pull out this little bit here. Where's my tweezers? Okay, so I'm just going to use my tweezers and I'm just going to hook my tweezers on the end of the tape here because I really want to make sure that those teeth are nice right there. So I'm going to open it back up and I'm going to do the same thing on this corner. I'm going to reach inside the lining and push that zipper tape up so that it comes out just a little bit. It just gives just a little bit more slack to make that corner nice and tight. So when we look at it, there's our corner. So now that the corners are out, I'm not worrying about anything down here in the bottom. I'm going to start top stitching. And it's really thick right here, and I don't want to accidentally run into the metal tab for the zipper. So I'm going to start my top stitching about right here. And the easiest way to top stitch on a machine that does not have a free arm is actually to turn it inside out. So once it's inside out and I've got my edges all pushed back, so now we'll go over here to the needle. And I love the lights on this machine. I have no lights on in my sewing room right now. This is just from the windows and from the machine here. Okay, so to top stitch, I'm going to run my guide along the edge of the zipper. And I'm going to lengthen my stitch just a little bit to a 3. And I'm going to start with a lock stitch so that I don't have to back stitch. So we'll do a lock stitch first. And then we will go for it. So you could also use your AccuFeed Flex Plus for this step if you want to. So I'm just going to sew all the way around here. And I'm going to keep sewing and just moving those layers out of the way at the bottom and making sure that my lining is flat and my exterior is flat. And we'll just keep going. So when you get around here to the other end, I don't know if you noticed when I first showed you my zipper, it hung over the edge by, you know, a good inch or so of zipper tape. And that was on purpose because I did not want to have the metal part up here where I would be top stitching. So I am using the O foot with the guide. That's the 1/4 inch foot. And because I was doing the zipper, you saw that I had the zigzag plate on the machine. So I'm just going to keep going around here. And I'm going to go as far as I can without hitting anything bulky there. And then I'm going to do a lock stitch. Now I love doing the lock stitch because they, it puts everything on the bottom so that then when you pull your project out, you don't have your thread tails are here and they're all taken care of. So on this beginning one, I'm just going to pull gently on my top thread. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. I'm going to pull gently on my top thread to try and get that knot to go into the inside. But I'll fuss with that after. So when we come back and now we're turning our bag, we have one more step, and that is to sew the lining closed. But before I do that, I'm gonna pop out the inside, and I'm gonna cut off that zipper tape. It's anchored now, it's not gonna come off, so I'm just gonna cut those parts off. So yeah, you can see that I left a good inch or so of tape. So they're cut off and they're all inside, so the edges aren't going to fray because they're all enclosed if you happen to need to wash your little tote. So now, oh yeah, we're doing the lining. Okay, so now remember I pressed my seam allowance for the lining, so I know exactly where it has to go, and I'm going to sew the lining closed. And I've left it at the 1/4 inch because I still want to use that guide, but I'm going to sew quite close to the edge here. I'm going to pull that out. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to change to the G foot because you can use this foot for stitching right on the edge of something. So I'm going to go back to the t-shirt, and I've gone to where's the edge stitching? Okay, so you can see the needle moving there. I'm just moving my needle position just a couple of spots on the other side of this guide right here. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to back stitch. Let's go all the way to the other end here. And back stitch. Yes, I moved the needle to the left so that it was on the other side of the guide on, I believe this is the G foot. So you don't have to use the G foot for blind hem. You can use it also for edge stitching. All right, so our little bag is all done. We're going to pop the lining in there. And poke those corners. And there you have it. A little zipper pouch with nice crisp corners. I just have to trim some threads, and my little zipper pull is actually a little scrap of fabric that I used when I was cutting my pieces out. So you can use up those to make your little zipper pulls. So now I've got a cute little pouch, perfect for makeup brushes or sewing accessories, anything like that. So thanks so much for watching us again. You can follow our social media content on our blog at www.genomilife.wordpress.com. And you can also follow us here on Instagram at Genome Canada, and also on YouTube with the Genome Life YouTube channel. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.